Okay, come on.
Pennies, and that was good enough for me. And I'm not working now because the UN is closed, and the new museum where I also work is closed.
Penny's a great theater supporter and film supporter and a wonderful artist.
Wonderful. Maureen, would you like to go next? Introduce yourself.
I don't think Marie can hear.
Okay, I don't think she can
She's
hear.
muted.
There she is. Hi. Yeah. Was involved with both Schwartzy and Sarajevo, and actress on the one hand and associate producer on the other. And I'm excited to see our little clips tonight. I don't really have much to say, but it was a fun experience. I loved it.
Great. Ken, Frank.
Hi, I'm Ken Frank. I'm a filmmaker based on Long Island. I'm going to drop some stuff into chat. Our company just finished its third feature, and we're doing a 3-night screening event of our feature film starting Wednesday. The first film in the mix, Thursday, Family Obligations, which won Best Feature at LIFE last year. And then on Friday, we're showing our new film. So it's going to be 8 p.m. on our Twitch channel. The information is in the chat. And if anyone wants to check out these films for free, come join us.
Thank you. Jeremiah.
Hey, I'm Jeremiah Kipp. I'm a film director. I'm in post on feature number 6, which is called Slapface. It's a monster movie. I'm seeing a new cut tonight after this. And I'm here to support Melissa Skirboll, who I think is an amazing director who is building a truly diverse body of work. And I couldn't be happier to be here and hear everything she's got to say.
Thank you. Charles with the best lighting.
Cool. Hi, I'm Charles Kesler. I'm not a filmmaker. I'm a still photographer. I'm here because I did a little work with Jeremiah a few years ago. Anybody who works with him knows you fall immediately in love with him. He's an amazing guy and fellow supporter of all of the other artists. And during this time, I'm doing a project called Faces of Zoom, which is taking folks' emotional temperature and doing Zoom portraits. And Melissa, I don't know well at all, but we're going to do one in a few days, I think, or next week. I'll drop the Instagram if anybody wants to check it out. I'm looking to photograph as many people as I can, and it's a totally free process and keeps me filled with purpose and passion. That's me.
Great. Meredith.
Hi, I'm Meredith. I'm into theater. Right now I'm working as a teaching assistant, though. I like to do voices and everything. I miss my theater. I have a minor in theater. Very comical.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Regina?
I feel like I'm in Les Mis because I have a 5353356. I can't change my name. I don't know why.
30 seconds.
Usually gives me a thing to rename. It's not letting me. I don't know why. But Regina Pasqualino, actress, stand-up comedian. I've been doing a lot of video auditions, self-taping. And tomorrow, I just have written my new one-woman show, and I'm going to start consolidating it and putting it together and getting it moving.
Cool.
Thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Catherine?
I don't know where I went, so let me figure out what's going on. Can you see me?
We can see you.
Yep. I can't see me. I'm an actor, and so I'm not working. That's my whole story.
Okay. Okay. Scott? Oh, sorry.
Hey guys, Scott Bergolandy. I'm a writer, director, mostly writing, doing a lot of work on this feature that I'm writing right now, and I had a really good night last night, so I'm just riding those vibes and bringing them here, and really happy to be a part of this and see everyone in their craft, hear everyone talk about what's important to them. So yeah, just really grateful to see everyone and get to talk about this stuff.
Thank you. Lewis?
Hi, I'm Lewis King. I'm a composer. I had the pleasure and honor of working with Melissa on Greetings from Sarajevo. It's a wonderful film, and I had a great time creating the score for it. And I'm here to support Melissa, and I think it's going to be a really fun evening.
Thank you. Jeffrey?
Hi, I'm Jeff McCulloch, and I'm also a composer. I'm a friend of Lewis's. I found out about this meetup on social media and just it looked interesting. I really enjoy seeing local films, so I popped in. So I'm currently working on a short while in quarantine. So.
Stephen?
Hi, folks. My name is Stephen Loomis. My background is as a writer. I'm looking to volunteer on anybody else's project in any way I can be of assistance to learn filmmaking. I have a much smaller meetup, the Long Island Independent Film Collaborative, and we are trying to get together an online writers group, critiquing each other's works, performing them online if desired, mainly scripts, but any format is welcomed. And that's basically me. I'm easy to reach if you need a volunteer or if you want to run anything you've written past me. Can I ask you one last quick question, Deb? The couple that was here last week.
Manny and Lindsay. Yeah.
Exactly. I thought they had said their website was masqueradepictures.com.
Masquerade. MASSGRADE.
Okay, makes a difference.
Okay.
What's your email if I want to get in touch with you?
I'll give that to you later in the chat. Okay.
So be it. Thank you.
Okay. Rachel?
Hi, I'm Rachel. I live on Long Island. I am mainly a camera operator, but I'm also open to help out on projects where needed, and I'm looking to dabble in some acting. Right now, not really doing much, just trying to keep, morale up, being in the house all the time. If you want to get in contact with me, I usually put my email in the chat. Feel free to do so if you'd like to chat.
All right, Kristen, hi.
Oh, hi. Kristen Samuelson. I'm an actress first, but I did write my first film, which did play at Film Festival last summer, LIFE. I started to say LIFE, but LIFE, whatever. And I have met Melissa and chatted with her online a little bit, and I'm just interested in learning more about what she does. I'm also needing some inspiration because I've been encouraged to try to turn my short film into a series, and I'm a little mentally not sure where to go with it, and this quarantine isn't really helping. But anyway, I just thought this would be a fun group to sit in on and enjoy tonight.
Hey, David.
Hi, I'm a writer-director and just working on a rewrite on a feature script at the moment for a client. It's about the Yugoslavian war, so pretty heavy stuff, but yeah, kind of interesting to see that, and what we're going through is not quite the same, but there's some kind of fallout from this experience.
Jacqueline? Are you on mute? Is your camera,
Excuse me.
Okay, you're on mute. You got him. There you go. Can anybody hear her?
No.
No, we can't hear you for some reason. All right, maybe you can if you figure out maybe your mic isn't plugged in or something. Okay, wow, where am I? Okay, it was Jacqueline. Samantha, how you doing?
Hi, I figured out my technical difficulties going on over here. I've Zoomed so many times, I don't know how to turn a camera on. I'm so happy to be here. Debra, I think it's amazing what you do with this. Like, I saw people posting about it before, and I just think it's really cool. And I've heard from people who have been in it, like, how amazing the connection is. So I think it's really cool. And I'm here because of Melissa's short. I got to work with Penny and Melissa. I first AD for a living. So I got to work with Penny and Melissa on their first one, My Dinner with Schwartzy. And it was just like, it was an amazing experience. Like, it was, I don't know, I still remember it as one of the favorite films that I've done. I just think they're amazing. So yeah, really excited, really excited to see this. Because I haven't seen any, but I've just seen like posts online, and yeah, so very excited. And excited to be surrounded by all of you guys. It's so cool to hear you guys. Like, I don't know, it's just, I get so inspired. Like, I haven't felt great today. I've been kind of sick, and it feels like energizing to hear everyone talk about everything they're doing. So yeah, happy to be here.
Welcome. Janine, hello.
Hi, I'm sorry I was getting yelled at by my daughter and she's not even here, so I'm late. On the phone, I was getting yelled at. Hi, I was just introducing. I'm Janine. I'm an actor primarily. I'm also a coach, and I've been fortunate enough to be in a couple of films of Melissa's and lots of other projects, and I love and adore you. You know that. I was in Schwartzy and also a fun little thing that we did called The Spy Who Scratched Me. And I'm just a big fan of Melissa and always. So thank you, Deborah. I'm so happy you host these things for us to get together.
So glad you made it.
Yeah, and Penny wrote it too, and I just want to give a shout out to Penny because I love working with her too, and I know we're gonna do a collaboration.
Cool. Katerina, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, yes, thank you so much for having this event and for inviting me. My name is Katerina Campagna. I'm a SAG-AFTRA member, a writer, a director, and I started the first annual Her Vision Film Festival, which is currently running online for female directors to submit their projects, short to features to everything in between, and there's some prizes. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Julia, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yes, hi. I'm Julia Aldana, and I'm a member of New York Women for Film and Television. I'm very happy to be here and listen.
Very good. Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, Dan?
Hi, can you hear me?
We can.
Hi, my name is Dan Shaked. I'm here to support Catherine in the film. I'm an actor. I had a film several years ago at the Long Island Film Festival, February, by Justice Shuttleworth. Yeah, I'm
that was a great movie. Okay.
And yeah, I'm an actor, and I'm here to support Melissa and Catherine.
Cool. Okay. I don't know who 535356 is, but if you want to introduce yourself, please go ahead. Oh, it's Regina. Okay, Regina already did. Did I miss anybody? Because the squares are moving around. I got everybody? Okay. All right. Wait, Jacqueline? Did we do Jacqueline already?
No, she didn't.
Everybody's moving. Okay, anyway.
Just come back in.
Well, anyway, I'm Debra Markowitz. I'm a writer, director, amongst other things. I currently have a feature in post and I have a series in post, and it was kind of interesting because I'm working with two composers on two different projects on the same day, and I was trying to figure out how the hell that even happened. But I was so inspired by Jeremiah talking about his quarantine art that I spoke to Lucas Hassel and Sarandino and Abby Hawk and Kieran Sheehan, and I said, do you want to do a couple of guys quarantine version? They said, yeah. So I wrote a script today, and I'm really excited about it. So we're going to see. The only problem is Abby's got two little kids at home, and her husband's a first responder. So we're trying to figure out how she can do this without kids hanging all over her, since she doesn't have kids in the series. But that's about it. And thank you all for being here. I want to thank Melissa so much for being part of this. And take it away. We'd love to hear all about your projects.
Okay, so I think a lot of you know me as a director primarily. I started as an actor, kind of went the long route. I was an actor for years, and then while I was out in LA, I started writing. I actually took a stand-up comedy class. Was the first thing I ever wrote, was a 5-minute comedy bit. And it was during the time when people that were doing one woman, one man shows were getting TV shows out of it. And I figured, well, if I can write 5 minutes, I'll write 10 minutes. And if I can write 10, I'll write 20. And then I'll have 20, 40, then I'll have a one woman show, and maybe I'll get a sitcom. Doing stand-up was the scariest thing I've done in my entire life. To this day, I say that. But I found LA to be a very lonely place. So the next thing that I wrote was a 9-person play instead of a one-woman show. While I was in LA, I ended up in a sketch comedy group where we were writing and directing. So we were kind of, if we weren't in it or hadn't written it, we might direct. We could do 2 out of 3 on each sketch. And that was kind of the first time I tiptoed into directing. And then I directed a full-length play. And I always say that as much as I had resisted directing, like I didn't think this is what I wanted to do when I grew up, as soon as I did it, it was like everything felt right. Up until that point, my day job is always very left brain. My acting was very right brain, and never really the two coming together. First time I directed, it's like, oh my God, all the synapses are going at the same time. This is amazing. Because you have to keep the big picture and the flow and the art and the details and everything. And it just, like, it hit me in all the right places. So then came back to New York, ended up getting involved. That play that I wrote, I produced here, didn't direct it, acted in it. And then somebody else that I met doing that festival asked me if I had a play for a short play thing they were doing and who I wanted to direct it. And I said, me. I have a play. It was called Pizza for Life. It was The Sopranos meets the Book of Mormon with pizza that had Jesus and Mary, and they were going door to door proselytizing with the pizza that's gonna fix you.
Good.
And from that directing experience, ended up being asked to direct a bunch of things over at Abingdon Theater and then at Urban Stages and doing more at Planet Connections. And it took me forever to tiptoe into film. And I want to thank, there's a lot of people that are on this screen that were really helpful in getting me there. But I want to thank Jeremiah. He's one of the people who, when I had a short play that Show and Tell Tango, which we're going to see later today, that I had done a staged reading of. And in doing the staged reading, it just kept coming to me that I really thought this would be a good first film. That it was simple enough, it's 2 characters, but that there was room to expand it. But I had never done film. I didn't have film language. And the thing that always kept me from doing film was I was really intimidated by, when I write a play, I don't write stage directions unless they're absolutely necessary. He enters, he exits, he picks up the gun. But I figured the directors and the actors will find everything out, find everything else and fill in the blanks. With reading a film script or a TV script where you have to put down every single action, I'm like, I don't know that language. I don't know how to write that. Except I do. I discovered. So that was a big discovery. But Jeremiah met with me, and he encouraged me, which was great, because I was like, I don't know, maybe this is a dumb idea. So thank you, Jeremiah. And then I was hoping Maz would pop in. I don't see him here, but he produced that short. And I don't know if you want me to jump right into that or wait until we're about to watch it. But one of the things when I met him, because I think the first thing that really got me going was that the composer was excited about the idea, because I really needed music and a specific kind of music. And when this composer friend of mine's like, yeah, I'll do it, I'm like, oh, okay. And he had mentioned this guy, Montserrat, who's a producer, who he thought I should meet. And I thought I was going to meet him and he'd be like, yeah, let's plan on next year. We'll raise some money. We can film the, because it was like September and it takes place in the fall. He's like, no, we've got to do this next month. I'm like, oh, okay. We can do it in a month? Sure. So we met mid-September. We got the music, got it cast, got it choreographed. Did the exteriors the last weekend in October, and then the interiors the day after the orange one was elected. So that was a very weird day. But yeah, so, and then it was very much like a duck learning to swim. I was like, I love everything about this. And now I've finishing up post on my 4th short film, playing around with something that Penny wrote to do as a one of these Corona projects, I guess, that I filmed myself. Although I'm not sure if what I filmed I can use if I need to refilm it, because I was trying to do it outside while I was walking my dog and it was such a nice day that everybody else in the world was outside, and my dog kept yanking me because a bike would go past or something. So I never got a full shot of anything, but we'll see. Anyway, that's a start. If you want to. Can't hear you, Deb. You're muted.
I was answering somebody's chat. Do you want to show your film first, and then we can go from there?
If you want, I mean, I could say, yeah, let's show it. Do you want, so this, I'll give a little, this, as I said, this is the first thing that I did. It was on the festival circuit for a couple years, and I was very pleased with it for a first film. It did, I think, better than I actually expected, not knowing what to expect. And, you know, overall, I'm pretty happy with it. There are certainly things that I would change if I were doing it again, and maybe someday I will. But I think that let's look at it, and then I'll answer any questions or talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Which film is this?
Show and Tell Tango.
I'm sorry, what is it called? Oh, he's got it. Okay.
Tell me something.
What?
Something I don't know.
You know everything.
Impossible.
Everything I want you to know.
I want more.
Too bad.
You're such a Scorpio.
Reductionist.
Are you a Cancer?
Strange thing to say.
You're mysterious, secretive, devious.
No, I'm not that interesting.
A lack of transparency that creates an illusion of depth.
I'm just an ordinary guy. Boring even.
Maybe. That could be the truth.
What is the truth?
And yet, you're
Lying.
yes.
I'm not.
So a liar would say.
What if I told you you were right?
I knew it.
Yeah, but you think I lie.
True.
Who's to say?
I say. There's more to you than you show.
What does that say about you?
We're not talking about me.
Oh, aren't we?
No.
I think you need me to be devious in order to justify your own Machiavellian tendencies.
Me. Machiavellian? I am flattered.
No flattery intended.
You think I'm cunning?
I think you need me to have secrets because you've got so many of your own.
You're insane.
Well, that would explain much.
I have nothing to hide.
In plain sight.
What?
You display it all so no one sees.
I'm an open book.
And you won't mind if I read between the lines.
Oh, stop.
Why?
It's too bright.
My dear.
Don't.
Oh, it's not so open after all.
I am an old story. Something that you haven't seen a million times before.
I like old stories.
I need new.
There are no new stories. Bob been told before.
You're new.
No, I'm not.
New to me.
It's a different jacket. But inside, still the same story.
Tell me.
Boy meets girl.
Yes.
Boy breaks girl. Girl breaks boy.
No.
Boy and girl join together. And then tear apart.
And then come together again.
No.
No happily ever after.
More alone than ever.
Bleak.
True.
Why?
Expectations.
I have none.
Liar.
I don't.
You expect me to be interesting. You expect me to be exciting. You'll hate me for being either.
And you?
I expect you to take me as I am.
I do.
You love the me you think you see.
I see you. You're right here.
Well, you think I'm alive.
You tantalize.
How do I?
You hold a promise of adventure.
I'm a creature of habit.
There's a whiff of magic about you.
A reek of the mundane.
Impossible.
But true. You're a dreamer.
Yes.
So more to you than meets the eye.
I dream, I don't do.
Doing starts with dreaming.
Dreams fade. Dreams die.
Only if you choose to kill them.
Life chooses.
Fatalist.
Realist.
Sad.
No, just true. Life. Things happen. But you do. You know, one foot in front of the other, day in and
Day out. No, no. It's very sad.
don't waste your tears on me.
I see your dreams.
How could you?
I see you. princess. Fairy wings fluttering as you float above fields of magenta gold.
Fantastic.
To a light on an altar made of mushroom and bone. Ready to marry the Fisher King.
That's it.
What's it?
A wedding.
Well, it's the start.
It's the end.
Of one tale.
Oh, so we begin at the end?
What most interesting things do.
Lovely.
And your tears will heal the king's wounds.
That's what you're hiding.
I'm not hiding anything.
Your wounds.
I haven't got any wounds.
Of course.
No, I haven't.
How could you escape unscathed?
Escape what?
Your past.
You think I'm the story, don't you? But I'm not.
No?
Yeah. I simply tell the tale that's there to be told.
Illusion.
Truth.
You hide behind the narrator's mask.
Hide to what end?
Misdirect. To divert attention.
Right back to that.
Never left it.
I've nothing to tell.
Show me.
You've seen enough. I'm not the Fisher King.
Oh, I need to see the wounds if I'm to heal them.
You were not a fairy princess. I invented it.
I lived it.
A fantasy.
I felt it.
Sorry.
Why not?
Life, things,
Happen, yes, I know.
time.
Wait,
Come.
please, just before you go,
What?
tell me something.
Knocking yourself out of your routine is very tricky. I mean, you get so used to however you roll. What's interesting is to know that you can deal with.
We are actually performing at a time when people need to be uplifted. And so be able to bring some joy somewhere.
If the apocalypse ever happens, like ago, just meet me at my house. Special.
Right. Who am I hearing talking?
Yeah, who is talking?
I checked in with Lionel and I was like, oh, it's so good for that. I wasn't the only competition show left scrambling after the coronavirus shutdown. Tonight, The Voice is a pre-taped Road to Life show's recap.
My love, look, see me, take me in. Let's jump, let's leap, my love, let's fly. Let's leap, my love, let's fly. Pull me out feel your skin. Hold me tighter still, and then love me, my love.
Lovely, really nice. So anybody, a couple of places where it kind of pixelated, that wasn't the film, that was it playing, but beautiful. Really nice work.
Thank you, Deborah. So I'm just noticing some of the things some people said in the chat, and when I wrote the play, I was experimenting with, I was trying to write lines that were 1 or 2 words. It ended up getting bigger as it went on, but the idea was no more than 1 sentence at a time, and so that kind of informed the way that that dialogue went. So that poetic kind of essence to it was an experiment that I was playing with.
It sort of reminded me of almost a hybrid between a play and a movie. Like you could see a theater background, and I like that because sometimes I will write like that and people go, you know, it looks like you're writing a play. But I appreciate that, it's beautiful, but I've never done a play. That's really nice. Anybody have any questions or comments? If you can kind of put your hand up, this way we're not having everybody speak at one time. I know a couple of people were asking. Yes, yeah, Janine?
I should say, I've seen this before, and it's nice to have distance from it and watch it again from a new lens of not thinking about it. And I forget back when this happened, if you told me if the dance was a part of the theater piece originally, or that came about later.
Yeah, when I started thinking about opening it up for film, it's a 2-person in a hotel room. You know, that's what the play is. But one part of it was talking. No, actually, this is something that the idea that I came up with, because I had named it Show and Tell Tango because it's this tango between the 2 people. But I kept thinking it would be very cool to have 2 people doing a tango at the beginning and at the end. And then when I was talking to Maz, my producer, and we were brainstorming the idea of it becoming like her inner child, or the more innocent falling in love, and so that beginning and the middle and the end are like her fantasy of what it was like to actually connect with somebody, and not this seedy hotel sex with a stranger that is actually happening.
It feels like the dance enriches each of the sets of emotion. So like you get this like experience, and then the dance just like even fills it even more. I don't know. It's beautiful.
Thank you, love.
Right. Yeah, I felt the same thing. And you must have been a dancer.
I am not.
Oh, you're not. Okay. Well, you were very graceful and elegant out there, and your dance was very nicely choreographed. But
I wasn't dancing.
Okay. What do you call it? Movement?
The younger couple. So we had, it was me and the marvelous Jason Allen Carvel in the bedroom, and then a much younger couple dancing.
Oh, okay. That wasn't you. Okay.
No. She's wonderful. She dances on Broadway. Both of them are professional dancers.
Okay. Yeah, because it was really beautiful too. Yeah.
But thank you. We wanted her to look like me, so I guess it worked.
Yeah, she did. She looked, I mean, I didn't know you years ago to know what you looked like. So yeah, you might have looked that way. But no, yeah, it just really just captured so many feelings, which is what I think we want from film. The visual says so much more than the actual words sometimes.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Yeah, Penny?
Melissa, you want to talk about how you worked with the composer, who the composer was with the music, because the music.
So that was Andy Evan Cohen, who I knew from theater. It's such a small world. And I love all of you who I know before here who are out to support. But I had met him when I did my play Blizzard, a love story at Planet Connections. I acted in that one. It was one I wrote. And Lori Key directed it, and she brought in Andy to be the sound designer for the play. And then I started doing stuff with Nylon Fusion Theater Company and worked with him repeatedly because he does all their sound design. He came up, I kind of told him exactly what I was looking for, and it was kind of the same theme with 3 different types of, like the more upfront tango rhythm at the beginning, and then something a little bit more Renaissance in the middle portion, and then a much sadder thing at the end. And then the girl who choreographed, Mary Baynard, she wrote the lyrics to that song for the credits, and Andy and her worked on that together, and it was kind of a thank you to, like, here, do the music. I thank you so much for choreographing for free. And, you know, so she has that song. And I mean, that's something that I really do. Sorry, I'm looking at shoot digitally or on film. Yes, it was red. And that, I would say, is the one thing where I would like to go in and fix. I didn't know anything at all about color correction back then. And we had various layers of color correction that I think we almost ended up going back to at least what I was led to believe, is we're back to almost no color correction. But I feel like for a red, it's a little, the interior is grainy, and I'd love to, now that I know a little bit more about editing, I'd love to go back in to the raw and see what's actually going on, because it doesn't quite look the way I want it to. Rusty, Jamal did a great job. Especially, I love the exterior stuff. Some of you know Natasha Straley. You might have noticed she was my co-director on it. Since it was my first time directing and I wanted to act in it, when I talked to her, I don't think she had directed anything at that point yet, maybe one or two things. She had been mostly doing line producing and unit production manager, and Jeremiah recommended her. And when she came in, she had talked about wanting to do more directing, and I was like, look, I want to be in this. I need somebody whose eyes I can trust when I'm acting, and I'm happy if you're cool coming in as line producer project manager slash co-director. Cool. And so it was a blessing to have her on set, because she has a great eye. You know, there's a couple of things as an actor and a director that I would change about my performance more than anything. And because we had so many weird, you know, we checked into the hotel room, this cheap hotel in Queens, on Tuesday night, and we did a rehearsal and brought all the equipment in, and we did a rehearsal in the bedroom, and turned on the TV after the rehearsal was over, and it was like 11 o'clock, and it went from Hillary being in the lead to it looked like she might not be winning. And then the next morning, I stayed overnight in the hotel room since I was going to get up and go get breakfast and coffee and everything. And I wake up and turn on the news, and I'm like, and Natasha was picking up the equipment, and there was problems at Adorama, and I wake up and there's a pile driver across the street, and I like call my sound person. I'm like, this is happening. And we're like, we just, like, anything that could go wrong that morning did. So we started, I think, maybe 3 hours late. So once we started shooting, I was just like, I'm going into actor mode. You know what I want, go. So I didn't really spend much time going back and looking at the footage, because we just needed to make up time, because we only had the one day. So there's places, and it was a learning experience. It was my first film. And so there was places later on where I was like, oh, I wish I would have done this differently. If I had seen this take, I would have said, no, let's try it again. But but it's fun.
That looks great. I wonder if that's sort of like a first film thing, because I know like everything could have gone wrong and the first Taxi Driver did go wrong. And then if it comes out halfway decent, you're like, okay. Because I remember kind of walking outside when we had like the blizzard and then everything was raining. There's 6 different weather patterns in 3 days. And I won't even go into everything that happened here, but I just remember walking outside, leaving every catering holding inside. I'm walking out in the snow going, okay, you brought me this far. If this is going to happen, it's going to happen. And maybe I'm going to suck and I'm done. And I never thought I was going to make another film. So maybe that's like a first film kind of everything going wrong to see if you're actually going to stick it out kind of thing, you know? But it looks great. Really looks great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Janine, I did not watch the takes. We were rushing to get through all of the shots and everything that we needed. We had rehearsed it. I felt like I knew that the acting with me and Jason, like the connection. So, and I would look at the setups and be like, okay, yeah, it looks good, let's go. So when she said she had it, I was like, okay. Rehearsal process. So there was 2 different rehearsals. There was the dance rehearsals where I was kind of just really had nothing to do with me because it was the dancing and the choreographer, and I was just showing them where I needed them to be. For me as an actor, I think I have a tendency, and this is true in my directing as well. Some of the people in this room who've been directed by me, Janine can talk about it, but I like things to be different. Like I don't like to lock anything in. I like to respond to what's actually happening. So it's like learning the lines really well so that it can change. I had, because I wrote this and was so close to it, I knew a lot of, and I worked on it in my acting class at one point. I had worked on it for the staged reading that I had done the previous year. So this rehearsal was a little different in that it was mostly just me getting to know Jason, who I had directed in something else. So we already knew each other and trusted each other. I think normally I just like to play in rehearsal, like try and keep things fresh and fun and find the thing that really, oh, that's not what I expected it to be, and yet it's so much better. When I'm directing other people, I think it's easier for me to talk about the rehearsal process there. I think that like it starts so much with casting when you have the right people. And when we look at the Schwartzy clips, you'll see what I'm talking about, because that cast, that ensemble is what made it sing. Each one of the 7 main characters was perfectly cast. And so then it was just a little bit of, polishing, what's the saying? Gilding the lily. Like they were already fabulous. Now it's just finding those moments. I know one of the things that happens with me on stage, I always feel like I'm more of an audio person than a visual person. So when something doesn't sound right to me, it doesn't look right. And a lot of times when I'm rehearsing something, if it's not sounding right, if I'm not getting that change in intention that needs to happen within a line or at a, just that beat. Yes, I allow improv during filmmaking. Then I'll give a movement direction, like cross over there or go give them a kiss or something, just because I know actors, and if the actor's going to make it work, they're going to find a new intention. So like you're missing that change in beat. Instead of me trying to tell you what that beat should be, go pick that up, cross over there and pick up that mirror. And for them to find a reason to do it, they have to change the beat. And usually once they find that intention, they don't need the action anymore, is what I've found. So I give a lot of physical direction, and then kind of disappears as the emotional intention becomes stronger and stronger. I love improving. I think the on-camera rehearsals, you know, one, it's for the DP and the lighting and it making sure all of that technical stuff is good, but also like, you know, that's great. Now do it a different way. Do something bigger, smaller. You know, I love to have some options going in. Trying to read. Sam says, trusting whoever you bring into crew. Yeah, that's the other the thing I really love about filmmaking is it is such a collaborative process, and when you have people who know what they're doing, they make you look so much better than you might actually be. So Sam, as a first AD, she's rocks. Anybody who's worked with her knows she just is an amazing first AD. So I completely trust her to do her thing. The DP, they know their camera, they know the light. Yeah, maybe I might come in and be like, the frame's not quite what I was thinking of, or, you know, there's certainly moments where we want to change things. But I like seeing what they have to bring in. Sorry, I'm trying to read these questions. Same question as Janine. What's the question?
About did you stop to take takes to look at yourself while you were self-directing?
No, on that one, that's one of the things that I think is a big lesson, that if I were going to direct myself again, that I would take more time. As much as I loved what Natasha did, and I trusted her, I would have made some adjustments if I had seen my acting. One of the things it was so strange when we were editing that, it is so interesting because like when I'd send notes to the editor, I'd be like, she's too center frame. Do you have something where she's like the character that I was watching on the screen was not, hey, I don't look good there. It's like she's off, or she's out of focus, or so it's an interesting way that I can kind of separate myself once it's on tape. I'm not looking at me, I'm looking at the character is not doing.
It totally makes sense that you did that and that you trusted her, because you do that for all of your actors. Like you create the space, you know, you speak to casting, but you create the space and then you really let us play. You don't get in the way unless something's really not working, and then you just spark ideas. So it makes sense to me that you would do that for yourself as an actor too, that you would just trust yourself. And then that's the filmmaker in you learning that, oh, I have to think of the technical thing.
Yeah.
I kind of love that you trusted that part. That's what you do that's beautiful. You let people come, you give them a space to play, and then you let them do their thing and then mold it.
Yeah, thank you, Janine.
Yeah.
Sorry, instead of me reading the questions, does anybody else want to jump in? Jacqueline.
Yes, I have to go in a second. I just wanted to ask what your budget was.
On that one, I think we came in around 10,000.
Oh, that's pretty low actually for the quality of the film. I mean, I think you did well for 10,000.
Yeah.
I wanted to do it for 5,000, but it didn't. That didn't happen.
I mean, you had a huge crew.
We did have a huge crew.
Did you pay everyone?
Yes.
That's cool. Yeah, I think.
I mean, we might have had some PAs that were intern/volunteers, but for the most part, I think everybody got paid.
I feel like we're adults now that we should you know, pay people when we make films, which is why I haven't made my last short, is because not very good at getting the money together. But
yeah, well, I mean, the actors are still all on deferred pay, so.
Okay.
I didn't pay myself.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I would never consider paying myself to get, you know, in order to get a film done.
Yeah.
I would consider probably not paying myself. I really have to go. I'm working on a film festival screenwriting deadline here, and my partner is texting me. We have some changes to make. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm sorry about my audio earlier, and I hope it didn't interfere. And it was nice to meet everybody.
Nice to meet you. Well, Jacqueline.
See you on the next one. Thanks for the birthday wishes, David.
Happy birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. It was yesterday. I had a great one. Really, for such shitty weather and conditions, I had a great birthday.
Scott,
Anyway.
you had a question? Sorry.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Bye.
Hi. Yeah, no, I just wanted to comment, being somebody who didn't know about this, and it's the first time I'm seeing it. I know you said that you don't view yourself as particularly visual, but the writing, the visuals are there, and it communicated to me, not only in terms of on the level of the script and the dialogue between the characters, but also visually. It's the dance, but in dialogue form. It's both the visual and the film. I found it very effective, very, very evocative, and made me start thinking about some things in the past. And I think that anything that can do that is really, really great. You should be really proud for what you got here, because this is something that I wrote in the comment. I'm going to have to go back and listen to the dialogue further to further understand the subtext of what you're trying to get across. But at the same time, I understand, like, from the visuals. So.
Yeah, this one is up on my website and on the Facebook Show and Tell Tango page, because it's done with its festival life. So, and I guess you'll be able to watch this whole program again too. So there will be options to watch it. But I've discovered I'm more visual than I thought I was. I think so my mother is an artist. She paints, she sculpts, and growing up, she encouraged me to be artistic, but if my learning style and her teaching style clashed so much that anytime I tried to draw or paint, I would end up like throwing the paintbrushes across the room and be like, "You do it, I don't want to." And I became much more verbal, and my art was always writing and words and music. So but I discovered, and it was putting this script, I guess, like what I really was doing when I started writing the stage directions. Was what I would do as a basically just writing down everything I would envision as a director. If I had the ideal cast and the ideal set, what would I be seeing my ideal actors doing? And then all of a sudden it's there. So I'm going to segue into Schwartzy, because this went off on the circuit, and even on this. So after it premiered at a festival in Sweden, which I've now been to with all three of the films that I've done, it's kind of like my home away from New York. I feel like I love these people. But when I saw it on the big screen, it didn't look as good as I wanted it to. And we came back and we did a whole new round of color correction, and the sound, I think it was literally off by 3 frames, but I noticed it because certain things in the dance were just not right. But it came back, it was on the festival circuit. It did various festivals, and Penny and I had worked together in theater. I directed a couple of her pieces, and we had lunch together, started talking about filmmaking, and she wanted to do a film. And we started going back and forth about some of her short plays and some of her short stories. I had done she had done a night at Dixon Place where 5 of your short stories, Penny, was it 5?
Yeah, 5 of them from my collection, LA Child, which had been published, and Dixon Place had reached out to me because I was part of their female playwrights. They're doing a whole exhibition, and they were like, they're wonderful theater. Everyone knows that they're downtown. They're like, "You can do anything you want, Penny, anything you want." And I was like, "Okay, I have these short stories that are coming out. Let's see if we can make them into little plays." And
So
then
she dramatized them and I directed them, and it was a great night. I really fun. More monologues with, although a little bit of staging and not 100% monologue, but this was basically a monologue. And the Weinstein case had just broken, I think, and we're kind of batting ideas back and forth. And I'm like, what about Schwartzy? And when I said it, I think we both kind of got really excited by it because it was so in the public consciousness at the time, this idea. The short story is about a woman remembering when she was 16 and hanging out with this older Weinstein-like character. And we wanted to, my idea was, let's make it that night. Let's put it into the present tense, and it's the night that she has this dinner experience. And so kind of decided to co-write it, and I directed and we co-produced it. And it turned into a much bigger project. I think the producer we brought in ended up pushing it into a bigger project than we thought we originally were going to do. But I'm really proud of it. One of the things, and I sent what we used as a trailer, I so loved the story of this 28-year-old, 30, however, how old she was, talking about when she was younger and what it was like meeting this guy, which we had to take out because it didn't fit into the scope of this one night. So I was like, I think for the trailer, we should take that and have not just the young girl 10 years later, but the ex-girlfriend who shows up in the middle of it, who has the exact same story. And so I took Penny's language in this part of the monologue and bounced it off of the second character, Janine's character, and then taped them both like it was 10 years later. And that was our I call it the companion piece, but the trailer, because it couldn't fit into the actual short, but I wanted to do it. So I would say that's the thing we should watch next.
we're gonna watch the trailer.
John?
Sorry, my dog is barking, so I can't. Do you want to show Schwartzy, or do you want to show the trailer for that?
Let's show the companion piece first, because I feel like, so how it should go, like if it was part of we did it kind of as a behind the music kind of thing. So it's like when I met Schwartzy, and it's the two women overlapping, and they're kind of parallel stories 10 years apart. And then it ends with coming to theaters. But if it were at the very front of Schwartzy, and then we go from them talking about, but that night was different, into that night,
yeah,
it would play off as one seamless kind of thing.
And what piece is that? It's not Sarajevo, is it?
No, that's the companion piece.
Okay, it's called
behind the story.
Behind the story. John, are you there? Here we go. Everybody mute, please.
Sweet Drinks is 14, but she looks like 27.
I met Schwartzy when I was 16.
I was 15 years old, standing alone on 57th Street, singing to myself.
A big white limo pulls up to the curb. The window opens, and this man dressed all in black asks me if I need any help.
Schwartzy handed me this box of chocolates.
Schwartzy took me home.
Stranger Danger 101.
He taught me how to be in this new world, how to dress, how to talk, how to act.
He was so nice.
So nice. It was cool.
It was cool. 15 years old, and I'm hanging out with one of the hottest music producers.
Hanging out with this guy, the biggest music producer. He took me to all the coolest clubs and parties.
Who tells his friends I'm really just an immature-looking 21-year-old.
He introduced me to all his friends. Rock stars, models.
Models, artists, and rock stars. So.
I felt glamorous and grown up.
It was glamorous.
But that night.
The night I want to tell you about.
That night was different.
John, can you go right into the Schwartzy, the clips that I sent? Hello? Oh.
Sweet drinks is 14, though she looks like 27. She hangs out in the bars that open at 11.
That's why they call it smell. I need some drugs. What is the name of this dining establishment? I always...
This place is so cool.
Told this place to be.
Wow, I mean, just amazing.
The pace was wrong. Out of step, my friend. His woman's got some good advice for him. Bring it under your power. Keep it steady.
This place is so vivid, a vivid, bright scene. The faces are paintings, the colors obscene. Everything feels like a dream, with music like laughter and laughter like ice that glitters and glitters and gleams, and tastes like my tears as I scream. Fuck you!
Mcculloch's looking like me here again.
Well, well, well. Look who the cat dragged in.
Please.
I'm not staying. Where's Seymour? Who's Seymour? Who are you? Please. Please help me. Let go of me!
Okay.
Stop the car!
Oh, what's the matter? We'll be back at my place in a few minutes.
I want out. Now.
What?
Stop the car!
I thought you wanted to be a star. I can't help you if you won't let me.
Hey, so we're back.
That was great.
Very good. He's running.
So I'm happy to share the whole film with anybody that wants to see it. We still may end up in a few more festivals, so I didn't want to just put it up without password. But if you haven't seen it and you still want to see it, let me know and I'll send you the password.
Okay.
It's about 15 minutes, the whole thing. So, who wants to start?
Jeremiah?
Love the film, so well acted and so well shot and so well directed. Can you tell us a little bit about what felt different doing your second short as opposed to your first one? Like, what changed between number 1 and number 2?
Well, one, I wasn't in it, so I didn't have to. I think, being a first-time filmmaker who had written it, was acting in it, and co-directing it, there's this level of, like, and I remember saying to Natasha, do not let this be a vanity project. Like, if I am not doing the role justice, I don't want to do it. And kind of having that on my shoulder as, don't, like, be good enough to be doing this for yourself. Whereas with this, I could just focus on everybody else. I think I was more confident about what I was looking for. I know we're having Penny as a co-producer and her story to work with. It was so rich with these characters and the time and place. And I knew that I didn't want to, and I think we agreed on this throughout, that we didn't want to get up onto some kind of a high horse and be like, Schwartzy's bad, because we wanted to tell this through Fiona's eyes, and she didn't think she was in a bad place. She thought she was in an exciting place. And that even at 16, and we both, Penny grew up in Manhattan and was going to these clubs as a teenager, CBGBs and stuff. I was like sneaking out and going to keg parties, and I was from the country, so we didn't have CBGBs to go to. But you couldn't have told me that it was dangerous. I thought it was fun, and I wanted people to see me as an adult and sit at the grown-ups table. And looking back, it's amazing that I made it out of my teen years in one piece without any major damage. But I think it's easy from the Me Too perspective to look at it as a cautionary tale, and it is, but it's also a girl's adventure in Wonderland. So I so veered away from Jeremiah's question, but that happens because my brain is like that. But one of the things when we started talking about it was this idea. So in the original story, there's a cat that Janine's character is looking for her cat. And when we started kind of riffing on what we wanted to see in the actual film that was going to come from the story, her getting out of the limousine to chase after this cat. And I said, oh, that's very Breakfast at Tiffany's. And Penny's like, oh, maybe it's too on the nose. And we started thinking about what could it be instead. And I know Penny loves Alice in Wonderland, which I do as well. But I think I said, what about a rabbit? And all of a sudden she loved it and I loved it. And all of a sudden we had this Alice in Wonderland thing that we could hook into thematically. So if you look around at all of those characters, they're each at the table. Jen Plotsky's character was the Red Queen, and the guy, her husband, was the Cheshire Cat, and the guy you didn't see him in the trailer that you just saw, he is half asleep and just wakes up when the champagne comes around, is the Dormouse. and Dennis Wee's character is the Mad Hatter. So it's like all of that going on. And then when we were writing the script, ended up giving Janine's characters a name, Dorothy, and it's can't see it in the film, but she's wearing red shoes. So she was very much, Dorothy has been replaced by Alice, and they're both in the little blue pinafore dress. This was very, like the colors, the saturation, the costumes, all of it was thought out as to how we wanted it to represent and who was wearing what color and all of that. I think just different in that I had more confidence. I had seen what we did with Tango, seen what I liked about it, what I wanted to improve on it. And I wasn't co-directing, so there wasn't another voice that it was my, like, yeah, I was listening to my DP and my producers and Penny who wrote it. But like when it came to directorial, I'm like, no, this is what I wanted. Like I was very confident about what I wanted to see. I'd love anybody else who was Penny, Janine, Sam, any of you have anything to say about the process? Maureen.
A lot of people kept saying, Jimmy is so great.
I know.
Jimmy. And I will
He was the first.
I will say, I said to Melissa, I don't want to do this film unless we find the perfect Schwartzy. I was really nervous. I did not want a Harvey Weinstein, look-alike. And she said, don't worry, I know the actor. I know the actor. So Jimmy came in, auditioned. I was like, yep, we're there.
He didn't even audition. I knew, I'm like, I have the right actor. We did a table read. I brought him in. She's like, yeah, you're right. We didn't promise anybody at the table read the parts, but he was absolutely right.
And then
I want to say I love that.
Janine was the other person who was there for me.
Melissa calls me and Penny, and they're like, we have a part, you're perfect for it. And then when I realized what they wanted me to look like, I'm like, am I perfect? What have I done? I don't know. This is actually really interesting because this part scared me more than anything I've ever done, because this is just a weird admission, but I've never done drugs ever in my life. And so that, honestly, that feeling of not being able to do that convincingly scared the crap out of me. I trusted Melissa and Penny explicitly, but like I just spent a lot of time watching a lot of footage about drugs, and then sort of how you don't act like you're doing drugs. But it really, really frightened me. And it was so fun. It was such a fun playground everyone was so different. Every character was so different and so inside of the world they had created. And it just sort of like became this crazy playground that I don't know, it meshed together so beautifully. And you guys created such a space that made that like a Wonderland. I think the result is far more than you can imagine, even from the page. You read it and you're like, I don't know what I see. I didn't know what I saw, to be quite honest. And I just thought it came out so beautiful.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Oh, no,
There were so many visual cues that were amazing, like Janine and the younger woman wearing the same dress. When you had, I don't remember her name, the young actress, but her hand in Jimmy's, because of course he's a monster, and it just, so many beautiful little visual things that were just told so much without saying anything.
Awesome. that moment when we did kind of the friends and family, kind of a rough cut screening for the cast. Janine's like, you have to take that out. It's horrible. I'm like, no, it's perfect. That you have that reaction is exactly what we want with that hand.
I almost threw up at the screening. Her hand looks so infantile and tiny in his. I was like, as a mother, and they're like, that's exactly what we want. I will say about the costumes was really fascinating because we did some rehearsals and I kind of brought some stuff to rehearsal that I had interpreted as what Melissa wanted, and she's like, "That's not it." And then we worked through it. And we did other stuff, and then you talked with everybody individually and really talked through character and stuff like that. And then there was time between when we actually shot, and then I went for my fitting. And Debbie Hobson is incredible. She's such a wonderful costume designer. I worked with her in theater many times, and she showed me these beautiful dresses and those fabulous shoes. And then she showed me what Melissa wanted to do to the dress. And it gave me such a visual of the night Dorothy had that I hadn't quite realized was exactly what they were looking for. But it gave me such a different opportunity to get back in touch with Melissa and be like, oh, now that I know what's happening to Dorothy over the course of that night, where she ends up visually, let's talk about what journey she really went on before she gets there. And it was so helpful in so many ways for researching that space and coming into that, having so much to work with, even walking into that set. And I think Debra asked, how long it took us to shoot. I was only able to be there for one day because of how.
Not even a whole day. You were there for like 4 hours.
4 hours. I think because we were shooting at a bar at my corner. It was the best location ever. I woke up at noon every day. I walked to set. It was like 3 minutes. I didn't even get a whole song on my whatever phone. But they were shooting overnights. And I guess the way we could only get the footage and make it work overnights, I was heading to Texas to teach some master classes and host a festival. And we only had 4 hours, I think, together.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I mean, Sam Winter is a huge part of why that worked. Thank you, Sam. But it's like we have the bar for 2 nights. We got in at 4 a.m. and we're out by 4 p.m. And like having the band there, the dancer, your scenes were one day and we knew what time you had to leave and we shot them and released you. Yeah. And then the other day we did the other part of everything without you and the stuff in the front room. Like I think one of the things that I am really good at, not everybody has a strength, but like taking inspiration in what is theirs, whether it's what the actors are giving or the space. So one of the actors who you didn't see in that clip is one of the partners in the bar that we shot. And we went over there, and I think one of the biggest struggles, and it wasn't a big struggle, but my DP, who's amazing, if you watch this whole thing, Alexa has a beautiful eye. She shoots, it's gorgeous. And one of her best friends, April, was our production designer, and she's wonderful as well. Did a great job, but they are both in their 20s, 25, 26, 27. And when Penny and I were trying to explain what the club scene in the late 70s, early 80s was like, in like the punk rock East Village, as opposed to the club scene now, like they were bringing in ideas of like all like crystal and silver and like just very high-end glass and steel and we're like, no, it's like somebody's basement and there's graffiti everywhere and it like people are doing heroin in the bathroom and you're stepping out. Like it was a very different scene. So like having to send a billion pictures of what were the places, Penny, CBGB's and what places, Max's, Candace.
And they finally, yeah.
Yeah, but so when we went into this bar, they thought it was all wrong because it wasn't glitzy enough. And I'm like, it's actually kind of perfect. I love all this weird art on the walls. We don't have to change that much. And what was really nice was there's the back room where the bar is, where the bands play, where it's just a scene. And then they have this little restaurant in the front. And in between the two is this hallway that has mirrors on both sides. And I'm like, this is great. It's like her going through the looking glass. So there's this scene as she transitions from coming into Wonderland or whatever, where she's in the mirrors and then she sees she's looking at herself in the mirror, she sees the rabbit, but when she looks down, there's no rabbit. And she kind of segues from one area to the other. And it's very much like she's going through the looking glass. That wasn't how it was written, and that thing where people always talk about there's the film that you write, there's the film that you shoot, and then there's the film that you edit. Because of the way it was set up and because of budget constraints and things, we went from this idea of there's the first scenes after the limo when the doorman doesn't let other people in, and like that was all supposed to be outside with a line of people who couldn't get into the nightclub. But we used this kind of like, oh, let's have it like a secret back room that anybody can come here for dinner, but only the cool people can go back here. So it changed the shape of it, but it didn't change the tone.
One of the things that I think is really cool, like when you guys were designing it, also, by the way, I always have so much love and respect for Melissa and Penny as just like people, like as people that I work for. Like a lot of times you don't have a voice at screenings as a first AD, which is understandable and fine and great. And like, it's part of our job. Like I love the behind the scenes, but it's really cool. I'm always included in anything when they do questions. They're always like, and this is Sam. And I just think, I don't know, that I have a lot of love for that. But when one of the things you said, Melissa, about like that you thought you were good at, which I agree with, is like the taking in the space and then you make adjustments. One of the cool things about the set for me was that as an AD, you're always like, how do I get everything the director wants and get rid of the things that maybe they want now, but they might not want later? And I remember having conversations with you, Melissa, and being like, hey, well, like this, and she never gets offended. But she's very clear in a beautiful way. She says, I need the band, need them there, need the band in that corner, absolutely need a dancer. Don't care about the clown as much as the band. And it gets very clear and wonderful because it moves quick and it cuts what needs to be cut. And then the actors get to play and inspiration is taken from everything. And then on Penny's side, collaborating, watching it was really cool as an AD. That are trickier for people when someone writes something and they let someone direct it. And Penny and Melissa have such a great dynamic. And Melissa tries so hard to respect that vision. And Penny is so accepting of when things need to get changed or cut or shifted in a moment.
You keep cutting out, Sam.
Oh, no. Better? It's just such a dynamic that's really fun to watch on a set, because then I see, as an AD, it's like, I love getting as much as we can, but it's really also fun to see. I love seeing the actors feel like they get to work and have fun. And I got to see the actors on this work and have fun. Like I got to see them in what they, like I think Jimmy had a blast on that set being in, I think they all did. And it's really, I don't know, it's fun to watch that. It's fun to come off a set and be like, oh, a lot of people had a lot of fun creating the best we could within the time frame we had at the bar and stuff. So yeah, it's fun to be able to walk away from something behind the scenes that feels really cool for a lot of people.
Thanks.
I also want to add the challenge we had. We were filming in April and it turned into winter.
It was like this.
It
was freezing.
Yeah, we had some exterior at the end and it was so cold.
Zoe was such a trooper.
Yeah, she was. I mean, I think so Zoe, who played the lead, was 16 when we shot this. So the rehearsals that we had were mostly for me to make sure that she was comfortable with any physical affection between her and Jimmy and let her kind of lead that. And she is such a pro. But I would recommend her for anything. She's amazing. That's her voice. She hit that note like 100 times. We kept filming it over and over. I think mostly because it was like 6 a.m. and she'd do it. I'm like, that's great. And we'd be like, let's get it from this angle. And we just kept doing it over and over. And finally, I think Sam's like, you have to move on.
Everyone's going to and do 11 takes later.
But the music itself, like I mentioned, being very audio. So when we started doing this, my friend Michael, who is in the band that you see playing, a lot of this is his music from the 80s, back from when I knew him, when I used to bartend in Hell's Kitchen, and he was playing at one of the bars that I used to hang out at. And when we started doing this, I'm like, I have this song that Sweet Drinks that just popped up on my iPod because I had just uploaded all my old music. I'm like, we should use it. And Michael was generous and was like, I love that. Yes, I'll be in it. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Came with us to Bermuda for the premiere. I think has been at every screening he can possibly get to. But I love it in how it sets the tone in the limo, But we also took it and I asked him, can you just do a guitar kind of slow, sorry, music people, what am I talking about? No electric, unplugged, acoustic, that's the word. Just a little acoustic version. I want to have her sing it on the roof. So that's what she's singing at the in the trailer. So it's the same song. And then while we were editing, I kept using his music as holder music. And the longer that we had it in place, the more that we would be like, yeah, this really works here. Michael, can we use another one of your songs? And he kept saying yes. The two songs that Zoe sings were descriptive parts of Penny's short story, describing this place, these places that she was seeing. And the language that was so beautiful, I really wanted to bring that in. And but if any character actually said these things, like the music was like laughter, and it would have sounded a little too poetic for this piece. But I'm like, what if we make this relationship in Fiona's eyes about wanting to be a star, and this older guy promising her that she can be a star, and she has this fantasy that she's singing. And so took the words that Penny had used descriptively in the short story and turned them into songs for her to sing that set the mood. And also it was and she sang it like, I don't know, she's amazing. Anyway.
Yeah, for 16, she is such a present actor. She has no fear, or if she does, she doesn't let you know it. And she just dives in with you. And and I don't know if that's just the gift that I wish we all could go back to, where we don't overthink things and we just do and be. But she had no fear about, it was a lot of sensitive things, that were happening for her character. And I give her so much credit. She really lived it. I think her performance is absolutely stunning. And I just working with her.
Deb just noted that we have 26 minutes left. So to cap things off, want to let you all in on this sneak peek of the short that Penny and I shot in November. This is the first time I'm editing. So this has been an incredible experience for me. Penny wrote it, I directed it, and I'm editing it. I see Catherine Cates, who stars as one of the 3 characters and one of the 2 lead characters. Lewis, who did the music, and the music is amazing. Do I see anybody else from that shoot here? But when Maureen, who helped out, she was associate producer, she helped us out with, were you scripty for us? And so everybody did like triple duty. I think everybody on the crew ended up being an extra, as well as whatever they were doing crew-wise. Gave myself my little Hitchcock moment on the train, which I don't think you'll see today. But we're waiting. I think we might have 1 or 2 more rounds of sound edits to go, and it should be done. So this is with music, this is with color correction, and the sound still has some adjustment to go, but it's close. So we'll talk about it after.
Nothing can go wrong here. No one can see you. You walk in and you walk out.
I walk in and I walk out.
In 1 minute, you'll go through the door, walk up the stairs, through the lobby. Take a left, walk 4 blocks, then a right to Broadway. There you will see the subway. Make sure no one is following you. No one will be following me. You will take the 1, 2, or 3 train. Here comes the difficult part. Many people there. You may be seen, but nobody knows I'm here. You never know. People see everything. That's how I found him. Just sitting at the bus stop.
Very intriguing.
Yeah. Penny, I'm trying to remember why. Oh, so she has been submitting this to screenplay competitions and has been getting a lot of finalists, semifinalists, and she sent it to me to read, and I'm like, we can do this really cheap. We can do this in one day. And like as soon as I read it, I'm like, I know how to do this. I know how to do it in one day. I know how to do it much cheaper than we did Schwartzy, which was not cheap, to make it look good. Like, and basically she trusted me. We talked to a couple of line producers who wanted to do it in 2 days or 3 days and wanted to spend twice as much money at least than what we spent. And I'm like, we don't have to spend that much. We don't need to. We don't need 3 days. We don't need 2 days. And we didn't. Part of that was because in between Schwartzy and this, which actually got released first, I had, because it was a 48-hour film project. So while we were waiting for the edits to be finished, I jumped into a 48-hour film challenge. Janine was part of it. Jimmy was part of it. Dennis Wee was part of it. Maureen was part of it. But we did a funny little film that's actually not done bad on the film circuit, considering we spent $500 to finish it. But the DP that I worked with on that, young guy, Noah Benjamin, I was like, I know he can do this for me. We did it on this challenge, and like as long as he and I are in sync, we can get this done, and we did. I'm going to let Penny, actually I'm going to let Catherine talk. Catherine's on this call.
So this is, what's funny about this is I saw an ad at night that they were casting this thing, and I didn't know anybody involved in it, and I Googled both of the women, and they both had email addresses, and I sent them both my picture and resume and told them both I could come in tomorrow because that's when the auditions were, and they both got back to me, and I came in the next day to read for them, and
was amazing.
No, it was pretty wonderful. It was just I played an Eastern European in a play that I had done for a playwright named Saviana Stanescu called Waxing West, and we had done it in a couple of times in New York, and then we actually did it in Romania, and then we did it in Sweden. So I had, that voice was sort of under my belt, and it's the same general area of the world. But anyway, it was an amazing day. I mean, we did it in a day. Just incredible.
And weren't you in a similar character with the Al Pacino in?
She was she's a German matchmaker. But it was, it was an accent, but it was a different one.
Right, and you emailed, I think I received your email at midnight.
I think so. It was
This
late.
actress email, and then we were so fortunate to have you.
No,
Yeah.
thanks.
And
Just
the
a-
younger girl, the one that plays the assassin, is was born in Croatia. Croatia? Yeah.
Sarajevo.
Sure. Yeah. She's from. So the accent was as spot on as you could get. And Penny, like, I love the backstory on this. It's based on a real person.
Yeah, it's based on it's crazy. The Serbian war criminal, one of the most wanted Serbian war criminals who was responsible for a massacre, was hiding in plain sight. And as like kind of this holistic doctor. Ed O'Brien wrote a novel about him, actually. And finally someone spotted him and, he was brought to justice. So that was kind of the premise of this film. I had also worked as a ESL tutor to a lot of Bosnian immigrants in the 80s who had just come to America to escape the war. So I heard a lot of their stories. And I had been to Croatia, and it's just a country that I feel very close to. And this was originally a play that was produced by Now on Fusion, just 2 characters. And then, Melissa's always really encouraging me to open it up. And she, it was her idea actually to do the voiceover. Well, as you see, young Hannah going through New York City. And we also had challenges of weather as well. It was a miserable, cold, rainy day, but I think it kind of fit in with the mood of the film. And as a writer, I think, as Melissa points out, when you're shooting a film, you have to be very flexible. You can't say, oh my God, this isn't in the script. You just have to go with the actors and go with the weather. And we had a terrific AD, Tom Chandler, as well, who was wonderful. He actually is in it very briefly. And Melissa planned this with military precision, I have to say. We did this in one day. She had, how many apartments did we stop at? 4. You had 4 friends who had apartments?
Yeah, so we did the laundry was in Penny's building, the lobby was in Penny's building, and when she goes up the stairwell to the war criminal's door, and the door that he opens is Penny's back door and her back stairwell, and on the Upper West Side, we sent the majority of the crew to a Midtown holding location, while me, the DP, 2 of the one of the no, it was 2. I'm right. PAs, who was also an extra on the looming guy that was staring at her on the train platform, and I took the subway to Midtown and got all of the subway shots. Continued shooting as we got off the subway and came into Times Square. Called up the people that had moved all the equipment down to Midtown, and sent 2 of them over to be the extras in those photographs where she gets caught in somebody else's photo. Made our way back. I think that's when we took a break at the holding so that everybody could warm up. We were freezing again, outdoors freezing. And then we ended up using a doorbell stoop across the street from our friend's apartment so we could shoot from her 2nd floor window looking down. And because it was so cold and rainy, we originally had planned to shoot the very final scene down at the waterfront. But right across the street from where that doorbell was a playground. And I'm like, instead of lugging our wet asses all the way down to the waterfront and just getting more rained on, how do you feel about this? And Penny looked at it and was like, yeah, I love it. And I'm like, good, I think it'll work better. And with that swinging, like none of that was planned. It was just like, we're cold and we don't want to go to the waterfront anymore. But it turned out, I think, better.
Someone just asked how long the film is. Was it 9 minutes?
It will, with credits, it's right under 10. It's like 9:45.
Right. And then wonderful music. Lou, where are you?
Hello.
Yeah, just music is just terrific. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's a wonderful film to work on. It was really wonderful.
The way that his music weaves through and really informs, it's truly another character that when I first heard the completed score the first time, Penny and I were watching it together on Zoom because we happened to be having a conversation when he emailed it. I'm like, oh, Lou just sent over the score, and we put it on, and we got to the end, and I'm like, I'm kind of tearing up.
Last few notes. Oh wow!
It really does what I wanted it to do. And thank you for taking any notes that I gave.
My pleasure. My pleasure. No, it was a wonderful film to be able to support and to follow the emotional ride that it goes on. Yeah.
I think one of the things, like, I wish I could say, when people say, what kind of films do you make? I wish I could be like, I do horror, or I do romance, or I do comedy. I think I'm attracted to, I think stories about women, being a female, like I like to see stories about women who are not what you expect a woman to be, perhaps a little outside of the box, but also that are ambiguous. I like that gray area in between. Like, I don't want to tell a black and white story where you know who's right and who's wrong. I want you to end it. Like at the end of Show and Tell Tango, people were like, is he gone for good? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe this is the beginning of something. They just, at the end of Schwartzy, she goes down into the subway tunnel by herself with the rabbit. Did she get away from Schwartzy, or is she off into a new adventure through, in Wonderland? It's 3 a.m. She's going down the subway. Yeah, she left Schwartzy in the limo, but it's not as black and white. With this, I don't want to give it away, but it's not clear what she does.
Have to see it and decide for yourself.
And I like that. So 9 minutes, questions, answers, comments, whatever.
I wanted to mention, I kind of said it in the thread, but it seems that you find really good people to work with, and it becomes a really big collaboration. And so I work with some of the people, continuously, because you have that chemistry. And that's so important, because you can have, whether it's a composer or whoever, that just gets your work without you having to explain too much. And then you just know, for the most part, they're going to get your work because they get you. So that's just really important. And Penny, even using you as a director, she knows you're gonna see what she sees, so that's so important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just a little anecdote I thought was really funny, because I auditioned for the part that Catherine did, and I'm sitting in the hallway, and all of a sudden Catherine walks in, and I've done other projects with Catherine, and I hadn't seen her in a very long time. It's like, what are you doing here? Oh my God. And I thought it was amazing. And she says, oh, I'm going to go in and read for this Greetings from Sarajevo. And I was like, that's it. You're cast. You got this. You totally have this. I knew it. She's so perfect for this. So beautiful.
But yes, collaboration, the right collaborators, is absolutely essential. If you have the right people, you're 90% there.
Yeah, that makes a big difference.
Huge difference.
Absolutely.
From Julia, what is your process finding principal crew? I think that's being refined with I've depended a lot on Schwartzy and on Tango with my producers' connections, because I was new to it. So my producers check out these people, going to people that like Jeremiah recommended Natasha. Natasha recommended Jamal as DP. Jamal brought in people that he liked working with for gaffers and electric and everything. And I think, you know, if your DP has somebody that he likes working with, it's probably a good idea to use them because they have that thing going on. Alexa, my art producer on Schwartzy, we had I don't know, maybe 6 people we had narrowed it down to. Alexa was somebody that Evan knew, had not worked with, but really liked her work. And it came down between her and one other guy whose work I had almost used on Show and Tell Tango, whose work I really liked and kind of really wanted to use on this as well. But when I talked, and Evan's like, whichever one you want to go with, they're both really wonderful. He knew both of them. And it really was because I really wanted the female gaze, I guess. I thought Alexa got that just a little bit more than the guy did. Not because, and the guy would have done a beautiful job as well, but she really got what I was talking about as far as what Fiona's story and her point of view was. And so, and then she brought in April, and April brought in our gaffer. And like, it's kind of like just when I fill the key positions, they start to bring in people that they trust to bring in the next level of positions. So Samantha was referred by Jimmy, and she was amazing. Samantha referred Tom to us for, he actually was second AD on Schwartzy, and when Sam was unable to do Sarajevo, she's like, talk to Tom, he would be great. And he was amazing. So I think it's really just about trusting the people that you trust to have people that you'll trust. Right, does that make sense? Yeah, it does. I second Janine's comment. I can't wait to see this one. Yeah, we're almost done. You know, I've felt very lucky to work on this one, and especially to be able to edit it. Our DP from Spy Who Scratched Me, the 48-hour film, was somebody that just answered an ad I placed saying I'm looking for somebody to work for no pay because I'm doing a 48-hour film challenge, and he jumped in. And one of the things with the 48-hour film challenge is nobody can get paid. And because he did that, I wanted to bring him in to work on something else. Plus I trusted him to work fast. There was somebody else that I wanted to kind of shout out from that, but I'll think of it later.
Todd?
Sorry?
Todd Lockwood, or?
Oh, Todd, I met at a mixer. I think I went to one film mixer from like a Facebook group once, and Todd and I started talking, and I didn't like the sound on Show and Tell Tango. There was some static that I couldn't, the person who had originally done the sound wasn't able to get rid of, and said that that was as good as it was going to get. And so I'm talking to him, and he's like, let me listen to it. I'll see if I can clean it up. And he did. So then when we did Schwartzy, I'm like, well, Todd did me a solid by helping me out with Tango, and I want to bring him, you know, and he's done everything now. Hey, Stephen.
Hi. I think you said you found your DP by posting. Is that accurate?
So this one, after my dinner with Schwartzy, I did this 48-hour film challenge.
Yeah.
And I don't even know where we posted.
Okay.
But some group, I'm like, entering this 48-hour film challenge, need a DP. One of the rules is nobody can be paid. Anybody want to come play? And he answered the ad, and I talked to him, and was like, "Oh, you sound great. Come on, come play."
Very evocative. Really enjoy your stuff.
Thank you, thank you. Kristen?
Scott just posted a question.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, yeah, we have to wrap it up because we're gonna get kicked out of Zoom in a minute. I wanted to thank Melissa so much, and Penny, and everybody for coming. This is really awesome. Huge fan.
Thank you, thank you. Working on a couple of scripts. Hopefully we'll be shooting something. Hopefully I'll work with many of you, all of you. Jeremiah, looking at you.
Great.
Thank you for arranging this, Deborah.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you,
Yes,
Deborah.
thank you, Deborah.
Thank you so
much.
I am so
Deborah,
flattered
thanks
to
for
have
doing
been
this. This
in
was
your series.
wonderful.
Okay, we should
Very.
hopefully have a meeting this coming Monday, unless it's a holiday. I don't think it's a holiday. I don't even know what day it is anymore, but if it's not a holiday, we're gonna have another meeting this coming Monday, as long as I'm home, working from home. I don't mind doing this every week. Otherwise, we go to once a month. But thank you so much, Melissa. Huge fan. If you want to, throw out your website, which I think somebody did already, you can check out her work.
It's
Thank you all for attending.
melissascirboll.com. It needs to be really updated. I keep saying that I'm going to do it during COVID, and I don't get to it, but one of these days it will be. It's melissascirboll.com.
Live stream.
And if we don't get kicked off, I will. If we're friends, friend me on Facebook, and Kristen, I'm copying your email.
I know we're
else
already friends, so I can contact you on Facebook.
Yeah. So yeah, if you wanted to watch Schwartzy, let me know. I'll get it to you guys.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night, folks. Stay safe.
Bye. Thank
You
you.
too.
Night. Stay safe, everybody.
Take care of yourselves.
Bye.